So while planting new flowers in the yard, we found a bunch of large bulbs of cyclamens that had been in there from a few years ago. And you can see the bin of them here. And I don't like just throwing things out, so I'm going to try and make another planter rather than buying one with some of the scrap 2x4s I have. First, I square up the ends. These are the 2x4s that we had little bits cut off for the retrieval of the big joiner. And so we had a lot of pieces of random stuff. So first I cut the ends all square, then I set it up and I split it down the center. This actually works pretty good. I managed to get it set just right, and so it ended up not only making a really nice surface on the boards, but it actually split them right down the middle, which was cool. And of course, I cut too many. I could have skipped cutting 1.5 of them, but it's hard to cut 1.5. So here I'm just figuring out for the dimensions I'd come up with. So a 9 1/8 interior wide and 17.5 exterior long. So I'm setting up and getting everything sorted. And now I'm using my crosscut sled and cutting all the pieces. So that worked out good too. I like the bandsaw. This is supposed to be a bandsaw project basically. So here I'm just taking the torch and, deeply toasting, and I ran out of gas. Alright, that works much better with a full tank versus a mostly empty tank. So, yeah, got it all deeply toasted on all the boards. And I had to switch gloves because those were too light. I had to go to the full leather versus the Home Depot ones. And after I got them all toasted, I figured out, alright, I'm going to put these brackets on. So I started with number 8 1/2-inch screws and then ran out of those and went to number 8 3/4-inch screws. Hopefully that'll be fine. And I realized these aren't the best things for outdoors, but you know what? It's a planter box. It's designed to last for a while and then you have to replace it. And notice also there's lots of gaps because that lets the water out so it doesn't just stay soaked. There's like an 1/8 inch or 8 to 16 inch gap between the boards on the bottom. See, there you go. You can see the gaps. So there should be plenty of drainage. And again, these are screws that aren't necessarily outdoor rated, but they're the ones I had. They were self-drilling. And that all worked pretty good. And here I'm figuring out, I toasted a bunch of pieces of redwood to try and use for feet and ended up just using 2 of the 4. And here I'm just using a liberal coating of that Thompson's water seal that I had. It worked for the planter stand, so hopefully it'll work for this. And again, just soaking it all up, making sure it's thoroughly soaked, especially the end grain. I figured I'd put feet on it because that way the box itself won't necessarily stay directly in contact with the ground. That'll mean it'll dry out a little bit quicker, but it also should not rot the box as quick, hopefully. We'll see. But in any case, it's going. It worked pretty well. And you can see the extra 2 pieces of wood that I had burned. Initially I was going to try and put all 4 underneath, and then I realized I probably really only need 2. But I did the other 2 just in case I do need them to stick those underneath in the open spots to keep it from tilting over. And yeah, there you go. And then here is a quick walk around when it's still wet. I'll do another one once I get it outside, but it looks pretty good. And, because the garage door is closed to keep the light out, and it's still soaked, you don't see a whole lot, but you see the gaps. And I have two of those screws, same ones down through into the feet, the self-drilling ones. But yeah, very cool. So it finished and dried, and it looks pretty good. I really need to get the Lazy Susan that I had purchased set up to make this sliding easier, because cardboard works on plywood, but it's not as smooth as it could be. But that kind of shows what it looks like. I think it came out alright. The stuff's mostly dry, so I'm going to finish it up and put some dirt in it. So this was the dirt we used. This was the dirt we used for the other flowers as well. I used about a 50-50 mix approximately. The Miracle-Gro potting mix over and underwatering, don't use by itself because it will cause problems. It'll hold water too much, but it's a good mix with the other potting soil. And then here is me just cutting some old window screen, putting that down in, mixing up some dirt, stirring it up, putting it in, putting some fertilizer in, making sure that the plants all fit, or the bulbs all fit, stirring up more dirt, more fertilizer, adding that in, more dirt. Well, looks like it worked. They all fit. The pot fits. Can't really see a whole lot of it, but the important thing is that the plants are in there and that they should be getting sun, hopefully. Not that we can see it, so yeah, I think it'll work. Very cool. I used up some scrap 2x4s, which looking at it you wouldn't think that was 2x4s, but that's 2x4s. And some 4x4s at the bottom, and yeah, we're all good.